Quite the night for Filip Gustavsson as the Minnesota Wild pick up a shutout win to start off the season. We will recap all the action on today's Locked On Wild postcast.
You're Locked On Wild, your daily podcast on the Minnesota Wild. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, this is Brandon Duham, and this is Locked On Wild.
Into tonight's Locked On Wild postcast as the Minnesota Wild pick up a 2-0 win over the Florida Panthers. And first and foremost, tip of the cap to Filip Gustavsson, who was outrageously good in this one. Stopped 10 high-danger chances by the Florida Panthers. Faced a ton of action early in this game and faced a ton late, but he never blinked as the Minnesota Wild pick up the win in this one tonight. We also saw the first career NHL goal for Brock Faber, which was awesome. We also saw a power play goal by Joel Eriksson Ek, and so pretty much everything you would want from a neat and tidy Minnesota Wild win. Now, was it perfect? No, there were more than a few turnovers in this game tonight, and obviously we'll wait to see the status of Marcus Johansson as the week unfolds. But for an opening night win, considering what this team had happened to them last year at this point in the season, we'll take it. We'll take a 1-0 start every day of the week. And you look at Filip Gustavsson and what he has become for this Minnesota Wild team. He is the great equalizer, as Gustavsson just is able to keep his team in it no matter what is going on out there on the ice. He's cool, he's calm, he's collected, and he faced a ton of very difficult shots in this game tonight. He had more than a few pad saves. He had some saves which included sticking his legs out to try to shut off a potential valve for the Florida Panthers to exploit. And also got a little help on one save from Connor Dewar, who sprawled out in the net to make the save. But for a Minnesota Wild team that was without the services of Jared Spurgeon this evening, I thought the Wild defense did some really good things in this game as well. But I want to talk about the youngsters first. Want to talk about the kids. Let's start with Brock Faber. Faber, obviously, as we mentioned, gets his first career NHL goal here this evening. And he looked really collected out there. He obviously, as the rest of the team did, he had a couple of turnovers here and there, but he did a really good job, I think, of just not panicking. He was able to take a bunch of different instances in which he picked the puck up, just looked up the ice and made the pass to his one of his teammates to be able to keep the play going. So I thought Brock Faber played really well here tonight. Jonas Brodin was just everywhere in this one. And so you want to talk about somebody who obviously is trying to step up and fill the void left by Jared Spurgeon not being on the ice. Brodin was everywhere in this game tonight. So wanted to throw that out there as well. I liked what we saw from Calen Addison for the most part here tonight as well. And again, what it stems to for these guys is just not trying to do too much. Just be part of the collective if you have opportunities, as Brock Faber did on a nice feed from Matt Boldy on the far side of the zone, tipped it back to the top of the zone, and Faber let it rip. Sergei Bobrovsky had no chance. In instances like that, where you have an opportunity to go make a play, do it. But just trying to not, do too much and just help this team by making winning plays is going to be huge for all three of those guys. And I want to single out Marco Rossi. Marco Rossi looked like he belonged at the NHL level here tonight. And I think that stems from not only him being more comfortable with what's going on out on the ice as he continues to get acclimated to NHL speed. But also, I think the fact that there isn't a ton of pressure on him this season to produce immediately. You've got your top six two top six lines. Those are the ones that are going to do a ton of the scoring. If Rossi can assist with puck battles tonight, which he did, he was all over the boards tonight, mixing it up with Panthers players all over the place. If he can do those types of things, and if he can continue to just capitalize on opportunities that Freddie Gaudreau and Marcus Foligno were able to create for him, he's going to score. He nearly did tonight on just an amazing play in which the Wild got Sergei Bobrovsky completely outside of the net, outside of the crease, and Rossi was able to bury one. Unfortunately, it ended up being offsides. But if he continues to do what he did tonight, it is not going to be long before we start to see the points roll up for Rossi, because I thought he was really good here this evening. And you look at the collective group. Obviously, it's a rare occasion in which Kaprizov doesn't at least score a goal. He did register a point here tonight. And so this was just kind of classic Wild hockey. Is you ride good goaltending, you are opportunistic on offense, and you take the most of those opportunities, and you ride it out to a win. Obviously, outshot by 20. That's not great, but we'll talk about that here as we come back, because we want to get to your comments on today's game. We will take a look at some of the things that the listeners had to say about tonight's game. So if you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment, and we'll cycle through them here as we continue tonight's Locked On Wild postcast. But again, the big story tonight, Filip Gustavsson, 41 saves. He was rock solid the entire evening here tonight, and got to feel pretty good about having Gustavsson in net for the Minnesota Wild. We will continue tonight's Locked On Wild postcast. After this, you're listening to the Locked On Wild postcast. Again, Minnesota Wild pick up a nifty 2-0 win over the Florida Panthers. Tonight's postcast is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there is no better time to get in on the action. The app is incredibly easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. The Minnesota Vikings take on the Chicago Bears this weekend. Obviously going to be tough sledding without Justin Jefferson, but plenty of options for the Vikings on offense. TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, of course, Kirk Cousins as well. So plenty of options for you for player props on FanDuel. Make sure you visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Welcome back to tonight's Locked On Wild postcast. Minnesota Wilds pick up a 2-0 win over the Florida Panthers. 1-0 on the season, 2 of 2 points. Always love to see it. And we want to turn to the audience to talk about some of the things that we saw here in this one tonight. Let's start with Michael Owen. All aboard the Gus bus. Disgusting performance tonight. Yes. And there were more than a few really tricky shots that Gustavsson faced in this one tonight. But he absolutely did not budge. He did not bend. He did not give an inch, and was the single greatest factor as to why the Wild were able to come away with a win here tonight. So love to see Gustavsson get his season started on a high note here tonight against the Panthers. Ron did not like the shot differential, and let's look at kind of how things started here tonight too. The Panthers had an early edge in shots, 8-2. It was somewhere around 13-6 after the first period, although from what Michael Russo had alluded to on Twitter, the shot totals didn't seem like they were entirely accurate. A ton of shots though for Florida, and you look up at 41 shots, through 3 periods of play for Florida and just 21 for the Minnesota Wild. That's not going to be the case every night where your goalie is able to turn teams back. For instance, Toronto, if they have a similar volley of shots, it's probably going to be a little higher even than that. So that'll be something that as the season unfolds, that we'll see come back down to a more even level. Florida Panthers had a ton of jump here tonight, so let's not take that away from them. They are a very, very good team, even without the players that they were missing here tonight. So it just further scores the performance that we saw from Filip Gustavsson in this one tonight. So he was able to turn away all 41, which ended up working out in the Wild's favor. NASCAR Kelly, the state of hockey is back. We are back, and I'm sure a lot of people were happy to see this result after the Minnesota Twins had their season end. Timberwolves are still a couple of weeks away from starting, and the Vikings are 1-4. So for tonight, and we don't know how the rest of the season is going to unfold, but we hope that it will be a successful one for the Minnesota Wild. But at least for tonight, 1-0. Vibes in the arena were great. It was fun to see the fans waving those glow in the dark light up, by the way, rally towels that were handed out. They had lights in them, so people were throwing those things around, and just created a very, very sweet vibe here tonight. A lot of fun to be a part of, and that's just going to continue as the season rolls along. Brad on the shot differential. Shot differential will get better. Gus Bus took care of business tonight. What a start to the season. Yes, indeed. That's the ultimate equalizer, and we talk about the special teams too, power play and the penalty kill. The power play was, I believe, 1 for 4 tonight. Penalty kill was perfect. Your goalie is your best penalty killer out there on the ice. And it was interesting with the power play too. Florida got a fair amount of shots off on the Wild power plays here tonight. And so obviously it's early, but there are certainly some things to clean up on the power play side of things. I thought the penalty kill did a good job of being aggressive tonight, but again, it starts and it ends with Filip Gustavsson and what he was able to do here tonight. Grant, so sad for Rossi. It was really good to see, though, because when Rossi scored that goal that we thought was going to be his first NHL goal, the entire arena went nuts. And you could see his teammates, first off, Marcus Foligno and Freddie Gaudreau on that line, go right up to him. He think that's going to end up being something that that Rossi can build off of as this season continues, because like I said, I thought he was really good here tonight, and hopefully that just is a springboard for him through the rest of the season. But again, the key to it is to just continue to contribute, not try to do too much, and the goals and the points, they're going to come for Rossi and for the rest of this team as well. Let's wrap things up by taking a look at what is next for the Minnesota Wild. They will be heading on the road, taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs on Saturday, and then they have a couple of days off, and they take on the Montreal Canadiens on Tuesday. So a little quick 2-game road trip. Dakota Mermis, who was also named the captain for the Iowa Wild this season, is up with the team. He'll make the trip, just in the event that anybody not named Jared Spurgeon ends up getting dinged up in either game. The Wild have some insurance there. But defensively, it didn't look like anybody was dinged up really at all. So hopefully they'll be able to keep that nucleus rolling through these next couple of games. Toronto's going to be tough. Austin Matthews, he had himself quite the night in the first game of the season for the Maple Leafs, which was a 6-5 shootout win over the Canadiens. This is going to be a tough offense for the Wilds to contend with. So what they need to do is take advantage when they get opportunities to try to score in this one. And just that they are going to need to bring their A game against the Maple Leafs, especially on the road. So we will have plenty more reaction for you coming up with tonight's episode of Locked On Wild, which you'll hear in the morning. But for now, a neat and tidy 2-0 win for the Minnesota Wild over the Florida Panthers, 1-0 now on the season. And make sure that you tune in for more on the Minnesota Wild by following Locked On Wild wherever you listen to your podcasts.